In the realm of big wave surfing, the significance of the right surfboard cannot be overstated. Big wave surfboards are purpose-built to navigate big walls of water that characterize formidable waves. Crafted with precision and designed for optimal performance, these specialized boards play a pivotal role in a big wave surfer's ability to conquer and maneuver through the massive swells. Ultimately, the synergy between the surfer and a rhino chaser is crucial for successfully navigating these awe-inspiring swells. A well-suited board becomes an extension of the surfer, enabling them to confidently approach and conquer waves that push the boundaries of the sport. The importance of a meticulously crafted big wave surfboard becomes evident as it becomes the surfer's trusted companion in the pursuit of mastering the immense power of the ocean. Good morning, everybody. As you can see, we are driving in the rain. It is a stormy day here in Southern California. I'm really stoked because we're driving down to Oceanside right now. We're gonna meet up with the legend, the big wave legend, Gary Linden. Gary Linden is a great friend and a great mentor to me, and to have him shape a 10.6 for me is a complete honor, just because of with his knowledge and his skill to the craft of, shaping boards. I'm really excited to be having him make one of these boards for me, especially this 10.6. We've been talking about it for quite some time on our trips to Todos Santos. And for those of you that don't know who Gary Linden is pretty much one of the main pioneers of big wave surfing, but big wave surfing in Todos Santos. The credentials of Gary Linden is seriously endless. He is a huge contributor to big wave surfing and the Big Wave World Tour, and his recognition is without a doubt definitely known in the surfing community. He is probably one of the most humblest and most stoked guys that you'll ever know or meet, and on top of that, surf with. He's always stoked, he always has a smile on his face, and to be going down here to a shaping factory, I'm beyond stoked. So let's go have some fun, let's talk some story, and let's go see what Gary's up to. See you guys soon. Woo.
Beyond what we know as a surf contest.
The swell's supposed to hit on Saturday, December 30th, down there, but my guess is it's not going to really get solid.
We'll be working, and he can go faster than you want to go.
Yeah, no, same moment. And we were wondering if there's just one gray area. Someone does have to be shuttled back to land, and we have to put the event on.
Up here, they didn't have the tail rocker. So, like what we used to do at Walker Fall, Harold would go, how much rocker does it have? And I go, well, no. We'll put a string from here to nose and measure, is it 1 inch or 2 inches? How much curve is there in the whole board? Not so much where it is, because you're going to move around.
Correct.
So that's a hard one to come up with. But I think about, this one has 3, and I think I'm going to reuse the 9.6 down here.
Okay.
And then we can.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah, well, where I've got a lot more volume, it's not just the thickness of the nose, but in the outline. And that's so that you can cram more. I mean, basically, as long as it's not offshore wind, it's not going to change it that much. But let's measure. So this one's got 4, and you got 3. And this one has 7, and it's probably going to be 6 up here. It's 6.5, and you got almost 7.5.
So then what happens if we take this, so you said this one's 4 on the money, and this is 3 on the money? What happens if we do like maybe 3.5?
And what are you gonna do with the nose?
Maybe take it down, because you're saying that one's 6 and that one's 7.
It's about 6.5 to 7.5.
Then we'll take it to 7.
Okay, but when you start changing things, you're gonna change the whole. You're gonna change a lot.
Okay.
You're gonna change the rocker. Would it be a good thing is look down the deck and look down and see what the curve of the deck looks like.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Wow, so much different. It's crazy.
What do you see?
Well, this one looks like it has a little bit more.
Right?
Yeah.
So more rocker in the tail is gonna loosen the board up. Less rocker in the nose is gonna make it paddle faster. I personally, that's the one thing I wouldn't, if you want to go with some of my experience, what I wouldn't change is the rocker.
Okay.
That's what I wouldn't change.
Okay.
The boards that, I'm not taking credit for the Paizel board, but I was making boards for Mark Healy. And then it was harder for him to get boards from me because didn't have someone in Hawaii make them. So a lot of the things that we were working on ended up in the Paizel boards. And when I first gave Mark his board, it had a kick tail and a flat deck, and he went, oh. And then he got the wave of the year aquarium on it, you know, so. We were on a roll. But I strongly, and I took my best board that I caught all my big waves and all my waves all over the world, and it had 4.5 tail rocker and it had almost 9 inches of nose rocker. What I was always trying to do is flatten the nose so I could paddle a little faster and raise the tail. But I never aided on that board. I always made the drop. I couldn't, you know, it's like wherever. I'm thinking of just riding that again. But I think the tail rocker is really important.
I agree.
And I think that the more, even like a longboard, your longboards, yeah, because what happens on a big wave, you're not going to stand back there. So you're going to be forward when you paddle, so you want it flat. When you stand up, you're going to stand the tail, you're going to lift the nose, and the more you, and if it's flat, the flatter it is in the tail, the less you're going to be able to lift your nose up, and that's what makes it loose. You know, to get some of the board out of the water. Get board in the water when you need it, and out of the water when you don't need it. Oh, I don't know. That's just kind of my thing. I can change everything, but it's gonna be a different board.
I mean, I think everything that you're talking about, I mean, I'm listening to what you're saying. I mean, obviously, you know a lot more than I do, and I'm just saying I would rather take your opinion and your expertise in this, right? So all it is, like for me, like what I'm explaining is to you what I like, and then you just interpret it and put your knowledge, and maybe that's why I said, like, you know, I want to use kind of like something like a similar template, and then you just put your expertise into what you do.
One of the things I've been working most on is the rocker, getting the rocker. I think that's a better rocker than this.
This is a better rocker than
That's
this?
a better rocker
Okay.
than this.
Then let's try this.
I would just stay with the rocker, you know.
Okay. Then I'm cool with that.
Well,
I mean, it's really, I mean, we're not really, it's not going to be a whole lot different. We're talking like an inch on both sides.
Well, the board I rode, the first swell we rode, was the new rocker, and it turned better.
Okay.
And the one I rode the last well,
Mm-hmm.
it caught waves a little bit better because it had a little bit more volume, but it was, I didn't feel the control. One thing with the more rocker and the tail, it'll sit down and make it more, it won't be like you're riding here and all of a sudden you've got all this board out in front of you. The goal is to get it into the wave and feel comfortable, you know, get in that spot and go, okay, I can turn if I have to. Not a, oh, you know.
Totally.
So that's pretty thing. Then I want you to look at the outline of both boards. This one, the tail's pulled in more and the nose is pulled in more. So you got less board.
Oh, on this one? Or this one? This one has a little bit narrower tail.
And it's got a narrower nose. So you got less board here. So you've got a 12 to about 11 and a half. A half inch less.
So
and basically we're talking about the curves so that the nose isn't going to change the turning that much. It might if you have more rail, so it'll go faster, it might not be as loose.
okay.
And having a tighter tail makes it looser. So you got 12 in the tail, and here you probably got 12 and a half. No, you got 12 and a half. So, and this in the middle, these aren't exact measurements, obviously. 20 and a half. This one, probably 20, says it's 20, 21, but it doesn't look like it. Okay, it's 20. Machines put down the numbers and they're good, but let's think a little bit better at it. Yes, it's 21. It's hard to get with the curve and the read. So you've got about a half an inch all the way around. Similar proportion. This changes a little bit there, a little bit pointier there. But you pull the tail a little bit more, but it's a little less all over. It's on a 21 and a half. About the same. Might be a little lighter there. What we got? 74, 3 5/8, 21 and a quarter, 9/6. Okay. Fins are at 8 and 14 and a half. So 6 and a half separation.
Now, if I want to do a 5-fin setup on this one, will that kind of change a little bit when it comes to the fin placement or not? Okay.
We just stick a that. So, where do you want to go?
It's hard, man. It's hard to, they're very similar to a certain extent.
To a certain extent.
Give or take a few inches here and there. I think that the most thing that I want is obviously paddle speed. So obviously, the rocker in the nose, if we take it down a little bit and we do something more like this, then that's okay. If anything, I just want that volume and that paddle power. That's the main thing. And obviously having something that is going to be a little bit looser when I'm turning, because I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, we're not, you know, doing top to bottom turns, you know what I mean? If anything, we're just holding a line and just going. And so I just want something that's going to be responsive enough to hold the line. And if I do want to come around and do like a turn, it's going to, you know, be like a little loose, not enough to where I have to really dig in.
I think, yeah.
It's
You know, like that's my version of it. That's Paizel's version of it. I can do this,
uh-huh.
and like where you said I want to increase it, a little more volume in the nose, and I want you to be happy.
I'll be happy either way, Gary. I'm not worried about that. But it's just for me, what I'm trying to just say to you is like, look, you're the expert. You know this, like, I'm just a writer.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you bits and pieces of what I like. And then you're just like, okay, hey, you've worked with, I can't compete with Mark Healy, obviously.
No.
But he knows his shit too.
Yeah. But he didn't ride this board. He rode in between this board and, you know, he rode the first, it's a constant of evolution.
Totally.
And that was a long time ago.
So then what happens if we try and bring this into one?
That's what I'm trying to do, but I don't know when we want to get rid of that and what we want to add on this.
Okay, so then if you're saying this is like the upscaled of everything that you guys worked with, and I'm sure that they've tweaked with this the same exact thing, and when we're overall looking at, I mean, like I said, like the tail is only, this has a little bit more tail rocker.
It's an inch. That's a lot.
Yeah, but it is, but it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would just say, I mean, with it, like how I'm looking at it too is when we're gonna have a longer board, like it's gonna be stretched out a little bit more, obviously. Maybe just have a tad bit more nose rocker in it versus having it flatter, if that makes sense.
It will have, if you plug in the numbers,
mm-hmm.
it'll give you more curve.
Mm-hmm.
Going bigger,
mm-hmm.
less curve going smaller.
Mm-hmm.
It will stay, it will have less outline
mm-hmm.
area, and then nose and tails going bigger and more going smaller. It's what the machine will do. That's how it'll scale it.
Mm-hmm. So
we've got to give it numbers if we don't want to go proportionately.
Okay, gotcha.
So we could put the 10.6 down on the ground, and that's this board at 10.6. I didn't change anything, just let the machine
do its thing.
Do its thing.
The gray one was the 10.6?
The gray one.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool that we got all these boards here to
compare to.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The nice thing would be had you ridden one of my boards.
That's true.
Just to go, oh, you know, you might go, holy shit, I love this board, and not like this board anymore. Or holy shit, I hate this board. You know, and then I could go, okay, either way, it's good, you know. I know what to change either way. Whether you liked it, I wouldn't change anything. If you didn't like it, I would be able to change what you didn't like, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of in the dark a little bit, you know, as far as making changes without trying one. It's a little hard to make a 10.6 and have it be my first board that you ever rode of mine and hit it on the money. What I can say, and I'm just getting back into testing my own designs, because I'm like, I've been working on this design for 4 years and I haven't been riding it. Because I've just, you know, I just got back on the horse. So, and I'm really not, I don't like the old board I had, and I don't like the new board I have so much. And I've changed the things on these, and I think these feel pretty darn good. You know, between the two boards I just rode.
Mm-hmm.
The wood board, it's got the volume and everything, but I don't like the way the rails came out. And I wanted a little bit softer rail. They were too hard, it just seemed like it catches. But other than that, surf better than the one the older one.
Well,
But it's basically got one wave to compare on each board.
no, absolutely.
So-
That is, I understand what you mean about, you're kind of in the dark,
Yeah.
so.
We have nothing to go on, except you like this board. Which, yeah, if this was the only board I had, I'd love it,
For sure.
A Rawson might be better, or, I don't have,
Other things to compare to.
yeah, but this is one of the most popular boards on the market right now. So, that says a lot. JS makes a really good gut. I've seen some of the JSs that Makua had are really nice, Lyle's boards look really nice, Everybody's got a little bit, they all work,
Absolutely.
so, well, not all of them work, but all the guys that are in business still, all theirs work. What I've been told from this model by people that aren't great surfers but still go out and catch waves, that their wave count went way up and their success rate went way up. So I thought I was onto something pretty good. And a lot of people are now using flat decks.
Okay.
That's the thing. This one's older too, isn't it? I mean,
Like, you're talking about the overall, shape wise?
yeah, it's an older shape.
Yeah, it's a little bit older. It has a little bit of that old school.
It's 3 years old?
This one is,
Yeah.
I want to say it's between either 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right around there, 2 to 3 years old.
Yeah.
So it's probably, the newer ones probably look a little different,
Probably right, yeah.
so. Cause everybody's, always trying to,
Tweak it and change
Yeah.
it. and
somebody says,
modify it.
okay, well, let's try this, and, then you get 4 or 5 waves on it, and it's not like going out and surfing every day on the same board, where you can go, Hawaii has more waves, but, the hard thing with looking at my boards is, they don't look like this board, and that's what a gun's supposed to look like, and I have struggled with that. Cause I can make one that looks like that, I mean, like that 9.6, it's balsa wood I showed you. It looks foiled and sexy and everything, but I always remember the Xanadu's that would come out to Toto's and they'd be all look like a shortboard, and they work like shit. So you gotta really, you gotta change things up. So I'm shooting in the dark, trying to make something better. And I think what we should do right now is put the 10.6 down and measure it so you can compare it to this.
Okay.
And what I think, the thing that I would probably do, if I were to just change one thing, I would change the thicknesses. I would give you a thinner tail. Okay, let's measure the thicknesses on both so we have something to compare it to.
Okay, let's do it.
That's a good thing. So, there we go, yeah. One 3/4. Two, so it's a 1/4 inch thicker than 3/4 two. That's pretty good. And I got 2. Two and 2 1/8. So maybe we do 2 1/8 and 1 3/4. That'll give you that. Might look killer.
I like that.
Let's see what stretch it. This should be 4.5, and it is. Which is I'd stay with that, and it's 7, 4.5 and 7. So like I said, went up a 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
I think we should stay with that.
No, I'm not disagreeing at all.
Yeah,
I mean, I really like the rocker on this one too.
yeah. I think I got the rocker dialed in. I like the. Well, I think the outline. It looks a lot.
Singular, basically. Yeah.
It looks a lot more. It looks a little bit more sexy than the 9.6. It doesn't look so stubby.
No, you're absolutely right. No, I like the. I like this a lot. Yeah, looks good.
And so let's just look at the thicknesses that we got. And what we're looking for here is a proportion. We're looking for 5/8 difference between the nose and the tail.
Okay.
So we don't want specifically 1 3/4, 2 1/8. We want 5/8 difference.
Okay.
So start on the tail. God, it's a pretty board.
It is.
I'm gonna have to take it.
You should.
And a lot of the rocker is right here.
Yeah.
If you notice that.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
So that's why you might get a little bit of difference. So we got 2. That stayed the same. And if it stayed the same, then we can use the same numbers. And 2 1/4. So we could go. Give you a lot more if we left it at 2 1/4.
Well, what do you think?
You want some more? You want some more nose? And we could do 2 1/8.
That's right.
Like what we had on the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 3/4. That would give us the same as this. I would go 1 7/8 probably.
Yeah. Wow.
Because this is, I'd give it 1/8 more than this one.
Okay.
Because we're making it thicker anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put 1 7/8 and then I'd go 2 1/4.
All right. Sounds good.
That'll give us our 5/8, right?
Yep. Should.
And do you want to? I think we can stay with those numbers on the outline. On this board.
Sure.
That looks.
I mean, it looks to me. I think it looks super.
I do too.
I think it looks really sexy.
Yeah. It's the same, but it's got a little bit more nose. It's got the same thing. We could take some nose out if you want.
like. This one actually has a little bit more nose.
This one?
That one.
Well, it's a foot longer.
Yeah. No, I know that. I'm just talking about. Yeah, let's do it.
Make it a little narrower.
For what you're suggesting?
On the thickness, we went thickness. Now we're gonna look on the outline. Do you want to?
Oh, you mean like, do we want to take it?
Yeah. Do you want to take it in a little bit, or pull the tail in? Leave it like it is.
I know this might sound funny, but can I lay on it?
Yeah.
You know what, let's maybe take the tail in just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little. And the nose, I mean, I'm okay with the nose.
Okay.
But maybe just a
I think we're getting somewhere.
I think a little. Just a tad, not by much. Like maybe like a quarter of an inch, maybe?
It's 12 quarters. It's 12 and the nose is 11 and a half. So take it 11 and 3/4.
Yeah.
And thickness, that one's 3 5/8. We're going to do 3 1/2. And that one is, and that one is 21 and a half. Does that sound good?
I'm good. I'm good with the width. That's
Okay. I think we got as much as we could do. You tell me.
No. I mean, I think everything sounds and is going to be looking pretty darn good.
Yeah, Dave Barr's been trying to get me to change some things, just about the same thing we were just working on.
Who is?
Dave Barr.
Okay.
Yeah, he does my files for me.
He does what for you?
My files.
Oh, your files? Okay.
Yeah. So he wants one for himself, and he's going, well, can I use your program and just change it just a little bit? And I go, what'd you do? And he goes, well, I want to thin the tail out a little bit, probably narrow it a little bit, and so.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I think that's what we just did.
I'm glad I could be of service.
Well, every exercise is a good one, right?
No, it absolutely is. I mean,
For both of us.
absolutely. I mean, if anything, this is a big learning thing for me too. Just the main thing for me, and I'm sure you could understand, is you just want a board that performs to how you surf and what
Don't
you
we
feel.
all?
You know what I mean? And so the outline that you have for this is a great outline. I like it. It just, for me, I'm just saying just a little bit on the tail, and just tweaking a few things just for what I feel would work.
Well, I think I might change the whole program to that. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go cool. I get to look at it a little bit different. And the cool thing is I had a killer quiver here right now. I got 9/6 10-foot and a 10-6, right?
That's all you need.
Well, that's all you need. Somebody can walk in and buy a whole quiver or I can make another quiver that's with the changes I made, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, so that's how I usually do it. Start, you know, and that's the fun part. Because if it's only you that's riding the board, you can't get that much difference.
No, not at all.
If you got a bunch of people riding, then you start to get somewhere.
Absolutely. I mean, just like I said, I mean, if anything for me, what I like so much about with what you do is that you're constantly like, you're active all the time in you know, sizable waves. You know what I mean? And so to me, as a surfer, that's, especially as a big wave surfer, is like, that's what I want. I want it's like, you know, when you go see a chef, like, you're gonna trust a chef that looks a little bit fatter than someone that's skinnier. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I always use that like analogies that.
You gotta be careful, dude. I can out-eat anybody.
Well, you know what I mean.
No, I know, just in general, but I can.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. But it just, for me, the main thing is just you're active. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying no one else is not. I mean, I know Paizel and everything still surfs, but you know, he's not charging, you know, freaking 30 foot. You know what I mean? He's just more of like, hey, I'm cool with like maybe 8 to 12 feet, you know, messing around at a freaking what is it, Rocky Point or wherever. But you know,
well, for me, the classic example, and what I'm trying to learn right now is to listen to people. Because Pat Rawson makes a beautiful board. He doesn't surf. I never seen him surf Sunset any good day. But he makes a beautiful board because he's listened to people give him directions and he listened.
So for me, as a you know, with, you know, being a hairdresser for so many years, that's something that I've had to learn.
Yeah.
Is listening to the client. Because for me, like, when it comes to the technicality and the knowledge that I have when it comes to that craft, I surpass a lot of people that work behind the chair. And so what happened is that, because I came from Sassoon, so the way that we look at things in a structural standpoint. We build everything off foundation and shape, you know. And so with certain people, when you're working with, you know, clients, like, they just want hair that feels good and looks good. You know what I mean? It's not about having, you know, cool, clean, you know, symmetrical lines and, you know, all this structure in it. People just want hair that moves and looks good. So from now, what I've learned is that when I was, you know, probably within my first 5 years of working, is that I was so technical and I never listened to the client. Then eventually over time, as I started learning that it's not about me, it's not about my expertise. At the end of the day, it's about them and how they feel. So I have to give them what they want. Like, yeah, I, you know, take some of my expertise, and you know, you start you know, coming up with the creative aspect of, okay, I understand, like, hey, if I do X, Y, and Z, you know, you start thinking creatively, right? So it's the same exact thing. So I understand with what you mean. It's all about listening to the consumer and tweaking it from there, because not only that, like, you're learning in a different aspect, but at the same time too, is that you're delivering with their
expectations, right?
Yeah.
And it hindered me because I always made boards for myself, right? Because I figured, you know, I know as much as anybody else, you know, and not in an egotistical way. Or, you know, my first board I made was a V bottom because we couldn't get short boards, you know. So that's always been my motivation, to be able to surf better with big waves. Passion. Look at how many freaking guns I have that are just sitting around, you know.
For sure.
But did I
see,
make one for Tom Carroll?
You think that's awesome? No.
No, I didn't make one for Tom. I could just say that Pat was working for Locomotion. He was Locomotion shaper, so he came into town. He got to work with all the best guys, not just guys that he attracted to him. He got everybody that came into town, and he got to learn from them. And so his surfing didn't hinder his listening because he didn't know anything about it. He had to learn everything. Basically, he knew what the technical stuff was and what everything did, but he didn't know how to apply it on a first-hand basis. So I'm my team rider, so I'm giving what I like to somebody else who might know more than me.
Absolutely.
That's why about surfing it. You know, my best steam riders are the ones who are, this board fucking sucks. Why? Oh, because it has too much here and there. Okay. Well, we're steam riders, but this board's great. They didn't like it.
But the good thing that you have in here, Gary, is you have a lot of history that you could look at, and which I'm sure you've done over the years, I'm just saying, but that's just one thing that I, like even with hairdressing, is that, I've cut so many, doll heads and done all these things, and you learn, you learn to tweak, that's one thing I love so much about, whenever I come into surf shops, especially ones that, shape, and seeing like all of the old history and seeing how you've evolved from shaping and learning, different, things, and when it comes to, using different contours or, thicknesses and just tweaking different things. And also another thing too for me is that, before I started surfing, I was a professional bodyboarder.
Okay.
And so for me, like I try to use a lot of the same things that I've learned when it came to shaping bodyboards. There's been a few things that I wanted to tweak in surfing. And to bring into a surfboard, but I just don't know if it's possible. Like, for instance, with bodyboards, we have different rails, right? We have your 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. Now, when it comes to surfing rails, like, yeah, I know that we have rails, but are they like within the same thing? You do like 60-40 rail, you do 70, so a lot of that is still into play. But what I was thinking about is how they actually have the rails compared to surfing, because you know how surfing has more round, like you have more sharp lines on bodyboards when compared to this.
Well, I'll just tell you what Mark Fu, I make boards for Mark Fu. I used to leave a hard edge on the guns, and he goes, Gary, I'm not worried about going fast. I'm worried about landing. Soft rails land.
Mm-hmm.
Hard rails are going to just give you speed and release really quick.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say you're trying to get some speed on a bodyboard. So you put some hard rail so you could, you don't have much rail. You want the whole rail in there, and you want it to react really quick. But on a gun, you got so much length, and a bigger wave,
You're gonna get that speed regardless.
Regardless.
Yeah.
You want to slow down.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. But that, I just think, weird stuff like that sometimes, bringing the actual shape and design of the rail.
Yeah, it's all.
But that makes sense though, because, Ben Severson started bringing in more rounder rail with his boards compared to the others. I think that's why some of his boards have performed a lot better than some of the others, because he uses a rounder rail compared to something that's more sharper.
Yeah. But it's all fun.
For sure.
It's all fun to, shortboard came from Rhino riding a kneeboard, so.
It's true. But it's all a learning process. Like I've only been getting into this whole entire big wave thing for literally, like, maybe I started, training and doing everything in 2020, and then really get into it wasn't until pretty much almost at the end of 2021. And then here we are. So everything's just been like learning, evolving, and it's been a fun process.
Yeah.
I got into the game a little bit later, obviously, but
rode YMA my first time at 33.
Let's see here. Let's see. I was probably 41 or 42 is when I surfed like good sunset, like good. I was like, 15.
Yeah, well, anyways, it's not too late.
No, it's never too late.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of why I created my blog, is called Better Late Than Ever.
Yeah.
And so that's why I created it, was just, telling a story about, like, age is just a number. You can start anything anytime you want, right? And, anything can happen to us, and I don't want to live in regret. I want to try and, leave some sort of legacy to my son, and, show him that anything is possible if you put your mind to it.
That's the lesson. That's what we need to teach.
And unfortunately, my son still doesn't see that yet. but it's okay. I mean, my son's, he's going to be 21 next year. And so, the only thing that I've done as a parent is just try to be like a good role model and just show, hard work and love, compassion, and just, motivate.
That's all you can do.
And my wife is the same way.
He's gonna figure it out at some point.
We always do.
Uh-huh.
We do. I mean, some of us maybe a little bit late, but you're a dad too, so.
Dad and grandpa.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week's vlog. I know that this one might have seemed a little long, but I really wanted to give you guys like a podcast feel of just giving you that raw, unedited consultation of talking with Gary and just talking story and developing hopefully a new gun for not only for Gary but for myself. I'm really excited to have this 10.6. I have a lot of goals, a lot of things that I want to do with this board. I definitely want to be taking some bombs on it. And if you are looking to order a custom gun or anything like that, I will go ahead and I will leave Gary's link in the description. So please click on it, reach out to him. Gary is full of knowledge, especially when it comes to big wave boards. And so it was really a great experience to not only just talk with my friend Gary, but just, hear his knowledge and learn a lot. So I just want to say thank you all again for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you guys again. So stay stoked. See you guys soon. Take care, Stoked Nation, and see you guys next week. Aloha.